What's up, everyone? It's NFL Week 8, and this is your Fanduel NFL Week 8 first look. We're going to go through the matchups, the positions, all of that good stuff, and set ourselves up to crush in NFL Week 8 on Fanduel. Let's get into it. I'm going to do a brief look at some of these matchups to kind of just get us on some spots that might be interesting, right? So, yeah, it's a no to this one here, but Jets at the Bengals. Right off the bat, Joe Flacco. I'm excited. I love Joe Flacco. I loved him. I loved him last week. Love him this week. Love Joe Flacco in this game. All that. He's out there to sling it. He's not messing around. Bengals weapons in. Jets, no. Right? Jets are probably replacing Fields with Tyrod Taylor this week. I guess we'll think about the Tyrod Taylor thing later in the week. I'm not ready to address that right now. Bears at the Ravens as well. 50-point total on this game, the return of Lamar Jackson. This game has some potential to pop, so I like it. Ravens defense remains very bad. Chicago defense, not that good, right? Ravens offense, pretty good. Bears, sometimes good, sometimes not. We'll see. So I like this game, and both sides of it are going to be attractive. We got Bijan game over here. Josh Allen over here, not in love with the competitive potential of this particular matchup, especially I don't know. Actually, maybe with Andy Dalton in there, it's more interesting than it was with Bryce Young. So again, another later in the weeker. But as of right now, that doesn't seem like the greatest of matchups. Giants at the Eagles, 43.5 pointer. This one is much more exciting than it looks on paper. The Giants got that magic with Dart. I told you last week, don't ignore the Dart. Don't ignore him here. I love this game. I think both sides have a ton of potential. I want to build stacks around this game. Hell yeah. Eagle 49ers at the Houston. That's just a bad matchup for anybody. Don't want to mess with this one. No 49ers or Houston matchup. Not building around that one. Bucks at the Saints, though. Bucks coming off that loss where Baker Mayfield just was off his game. Had a rough day. Probably bounce back here at the Saints. So I'll have some interest in this situation, and certainly pieces from the Bucks and even from the Saints in that one. We have a Colts smash spot at home against the Titans. We want to pay attention to their defense. And finally, is this the game of the week? It might be. Maybe this one, maybe Chicago. I don't know. But Dallas at the Broncos. 50-point total. Broncos heavy home favorites in this one. I like it. I think that's a solid potential matchup. We saw what happened with the Broncos last week when they were pushed by the opposing offense. All of a sudden, Bo Nix went bananas. Bo Nix went crazy. If it wasn't for Bo Nix going nuts, my Dart play would have been the nuts. But it was Dart that pushed Bo Nix. Who'd have thunk it? All right, let's get into the player pool on FanDuel, and let's take a look at some of these salaries. I always like to compare FanDuel to DraftKings as well and see kind of how they have them priced. So yeah, very top, we got Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts, 8,800. Yeah, I like this game. That's going to be a lot to pay for a quarterback. But I like this game. Lamar Jackson, 8,700. Fine as well. I don't expect that Lamar's hamstring will hamper him. I think he's over it. I think it's done. Yeah, the bye week, plenty of time to heal up. Let's see. We got Baker Mayfield, 8,300. At the Saints, tough. On the road, it's fine. Dak Prescott, acceptable. But one of my first, I like Dak here. Dak and Bo. All right, so we want to focus on this game, just like last time. Always going to focus on these Dallas games, but I like the Bo Nix side of it. I'm going to plug in Bo Nix as my placeholder for now. There's a couple of the quarterbacks, though, that we're going to get to, including somebody who I'm going to replace him with in a minute. But I love Bo Nix. Dak on the other side of that game as well. Danny Jones does not set up well in this one. This is a Jonathan Taylor game, it looks like to me. I don't love the Drake May matchup. Cleveland. Caleb is interesting at Baltimore. We haven't seen Caleb really smash on the road as of yet in terms of big scores. Honestly, the fantasy points have not been that great for him ever since those first couple of weeks, and they were both home games. So am I a little nervous about Caleb on the road and all this? Yes, but the matchup's really good. But I think this area is where we want to kind of live this week at quarterback. I go right back to Dart, 7,400. He's got that magic. Divisional rivalry, that's fine by me. 7,400, Dart, yep. The other name that I'm interested in here is Flacco. Flacco's just out there to sling it. The Jets are not going to be a competitive opponent, so I don't expect much from them. But I don't think Flacco cares. He's out there having fun. So I don't mind Flacco, but I'm just as interested in just playing T. Higgins and Chase and that kind of thing. As we scroll down, there's really nothing else going on until we get to some of these backups like, I don't know, Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton. I mean, that's pretty inexpensive for Andy. Maybe Andy Dalton. Maybe that's our play. Yeah, I'm going to keep Andy Dalton on the top of mine this week as well for 6,200. That's quite a bit of savings, and Dalton has had good games before. Not recently, but he's had good games. He's kind of like a Flacco. He can come in and just sling it. So I kind of like in this spot. I'm convincing myself right now that Dalton is playable. What? I'm watching this guy talk about Dalton. What the fuck is this YouTube channel? That's right. I talked about Dalton. You never know. You guys said the same thing about Dart last week, and look what happened there. Guys smashed. All right. Let's shift to the running back position for NFL Week 8 on FanDuel. And man, they're expensive. There's no real bargains here. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is the man at this point, averaging 25.4 fantasy points per game. The insane numbers. He is just unstoppable, and he gets the nut matchup against Tennessee. I mean, what more can you ask for? What I could ask for is a cheaper price point, which I didn't get. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford a Jonathan Taylor. I haven't discovered any hidden value gems as of yet, but those might present themselves. For example, what if Breece Hall is hurt and Isaiah Davis comes in and is the full blast starter for the Jets? And you're like, well, the Jets suck. Who cares? I get it. But if I can get a Jets running back with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, which is a probably more efficient offense for Stone Min 4K on FanDuel, I'm interested. But at this moment, none of that is realistic. So I'm throwing Jonathan Taylor in there. I think Bijan is a great play as well against Miami. Sure, Bijan's awesome. Christian McCaffrey probably shines a little less than Taylor and Bijan for me, just because the matchups is less good. And also, those other two are just such smash spots, all the same spot. Can't play them all. Javonte 8,400, too much. Cook at 8,200, that's a little pricey. Just Saquon is no for me until further notice. Derrick Henry, 8K, excuse me. So FanDuel, DraftKings has Derrick Henry. This is an important one. FanDuel priced Derrick Henry at his normal price. DraftKings has him at 6K, just like super, super cheap for Derrick Henry, as if Lamar wasn't playing. So I will play him, but on DraftKings, not FanDuel. 810 here, 7,900. I mean, Judkins, he had the big week last week. We had a core play on Judkins that worked out really nicely for us. So congrats to everybody who tailed along with that. 26 fantasy points last week. Really good stuff. I don't like this price point, 7,800 for him again. I'd rather at that point really try to get my way up to these studs. I think we're going to have to find lower cost options at the running back position. Let's see what's going on with Bucky. I'm hearing ruled out from So I guess we got to see if Bucky's going to play. If Bucky plays, I'm kind of interested. But if he doesn't play, I'm more interested in Rachaad White. So let's pay attention to that. Scattaboo, 7,200. Okay, I don't know if I want to play him with Dart, but Scattaboo at 7,200, I can work with that. Brown and Chase and Swift, all right, in a sub 7K, get some bargains going. I think either one of those are viable. Kamara, I'm not a touchdown scorer, not somebody I've played this year, but with Kendre Miller out, maybe Kamara is going to get more carries and just more workload dumped on him. It's going to be a tough trigger pull, though, for me. Let's continue on. Rico Dowdle. Wow. So, last week they really treated Rico as the starter. He got a lot fewer touches than obviously when Chuba Hubbard was out. But let's take a look at Rico here. So he got 17 carries last week and 2 targets. Fine. And then Chuba got only, what did he get? 14. Oh boy. He got 14 carries and 3 targets. So as I'm looking at that, this looks like a pretty even split and a pretty gross situation. Avoiding that one. Swift and Brown, I think, are reasonable. And actually, one name I want to bring up here, a couple of them actually. Well, Ramondre, this is a tough matchup. I'm not going there with Dre, but Woody Marks, a tough matchup last week at Seattle, still kind of pulls out a reasonable score, 6,100. I kind of think Woody Marks is somewhat taking over as a starting running back on his team, but yeah, it's still a tough trigger pull. Yeah, we're going to have to spend on running backs this week. I'm going to plug in Rachaad White, and if it's Bucky, it's Bucky. We could switch it up. But like I said, I don't really mind. I want favored running back. I don't really mind Chase Brown here either. It could be his time. Chase Brown's been terrible, but he's percolating. Starting to percolate. We know he's good. Just the team's been bad. Now, this might be the Chase Brown week. I'm going to keep that in mind very heavily as well. But basically, as we look over the running back group, it's going to be Taylor and Bijan on the pay-up options. I don't really think Javonte is like, or even CMC are all super viable compared to that, just because these guys are better spots. And then as I make my way down, I'll have some interest in some of these cheaper names, Scattaboo, White, and of course, down here, Brown, Swift, a couple other names as well. Getting the running backs right is super critical on FanDuel. I don't even mind paying up significantly. But now that they have everybody priced like close to 10K, it's really going to be, you can't play 2K. I don't think you can play two 10K players, but we'll see. Who knows? All right, let's jump over to the wide receiver group, NFL Week 8 on FanDuel. Jamar Chase, yes. This guy had 23 targets. This is what I'm saying with Joe Flacco. Guy loves to sling it. He's having fun. 23 targets, 60. When was the last time you saw a wide receiver with 23 targets? That does not happen all the time. So very cool for Jamar Chase. We got CeeDee Lamb up here. Probably going to get the Pat Surtain treatment, which actually does open an interesting angle up for George Pickens. AJ Brown, egregiously priced at 8,400. Never. Even last week's crazy score, you were just better off paying down for Smith. I actually think Smith is a straight up better. I'm going to plug in Devontae Smith. I think he's a straight up better play anyway than AJ Brown, and he's 1,500 less. Collins concussion, I wouldn't play him really in this spot. I'm not going to be excited in that spot anyway. I'd rather get to these guys. Drake London, 7,800. That's fine. Koso, Cortland Sutton against the 32 ranked Dallas secondary at home. What did Sutton do last week? He also kind of 10 targets, 6 didn't quite have the smash you would hope for with Knicks going bananas, but that's just going to come and go. Emeka Egbuka now without Mike Evans pretty much for the rest of his career, as I think we've seen the last of Mike Evans, unfortunately, maybe for the playoffs this year, but he already said he wanted to retire and broken collarbone. Unfortunately, that doesn't heal that quick. So it's going to be the Emeka Egbuka show, and 7,500 is a fairly reasonable price. I'm fine with that. Of course, we only have 5,300 left, so we're not going to be able to afford anything like that in this lineup, but that's a consequence of using a 10K running back. You'll see. Roma Dunze as well with Caleb, definitely in stacks. I like that. Pickens, sure. Flowers, T. Higgins. This is another thing. I think people are scared of T. Higgins. Don't be scared of T. Higgins. This guy got a ton of targets as well. 10 targets, 6 receptions. Is also a key part of that offense. And Flacco is not like Browning or whoever they had before. Flacco knows how to look off the first receiver and go to the second guy. Flacco will be fine. He could feed all these guys. Waddle, meh. Pittman, I don't like it in this spot at all. Not that Tennessee's a tough defense, but again, they're just going to run it down their throats. Olave here at 6,600. Olave coming off the big week. Finally, got the touchdowns. Put up a 24. The problem is he doesn't do a lot of scoring. And quite honestly, the Saints are not a team that throw for a lot of touchdowns, which will continue to hurt Olave's upside week to week. Got Wan'Dale. Wan'Dale's a really interesting pairing with Dart. I'm going to throw him in here for now. I don't think Dart actually needs to be stacked, or he can be stacked with the tight end as well. We definitely doesn't have to be Wan'Dale. So we're going to keep looking and see who else we can come up with. Ted McMillan. Oh, I forgot with Dalton in there. Dalton's going to make Ted McMillan so much better. I like it. All right, Ted, you're in there, buddy. I already I don't really care for that game, but I think Ted can get peppered with targets. Let's see. Jennings, Darnell, K-Shack. We're going to need to live in the cheaper zone here for some of these plays. So I'm going to kind of try to scroll down and see if we can find anyone that maybe has any kind of signs of life down here at this price point. I think Keon Coleman is playable in the flex, potentially. Well, not in the flex, actually, but we don't put wide receivers in the flex. By the way, never put a wide receiver in the flex on FanDuel. Play running backs in the flex, right? But Keon Coleman, 5,500. If we're going to need salary to afford like super stud running backs, I don't mind Keon Coleman there. You can get it done. Let's see who else here. Leggett, Higgins, Mims touchdown score. So we're going to have to live down here a little bit, I think, on FanDuel this week and just try to find who could score a touchdown from this price. I'd say Mims could get a touchdown. Maybe Leggett, probably not, but Keon Coleman for sure. Maybe Jerry Jeudy, maybe Shaheed here. So we're going to have to play some of these guys, maybe Bourne, but probably not. So we're going to have to play some of these guys to make lineups work this week. But let's get this one going here at the defense position, and then we'll finish it up at tight end. Now, with defense, I'm usually looking for the cheapest viable play. Just an acceptable defense that I don't have to pay a lot for. We'll pay up later. And obviously, I will say this, starting at the top, the Patriots at home, that's a pretty good spot against Dylan Gabriel. The Colts at home against Tennessee, that's a lock button. Probably I can't lock button this because I don't have enough salary right now, but I would lock button Colts defense this week if I could. Yeah, Bills at Carolina, okay. I don't like the Eagles, really. Bucks, acceptable, but nothing great. Even the Broncos, kind of playable, but I'm not paying up for a defense against the Cowboys. I just don't really get why you would want to do that. Texans at home against San Francisco. Texans are playable. They're good. But again, an expensive defense, not where I want to go. Falcons acceptable against Miami. Miami's a mess right now. They are a mess. San Francisco, no. Cleveland, nah. Chicago, definitely not. Baltimore, maybe. Right? No one's going to play Baltimore. They've been so bad. But I think that getting Lamar back is going to energize the whole team, and that defense will play better as well. You watch. Maybe not this game, but maybe next game. I don't know, but it's going to happen. They'll be excited to get Lamar back on that team. Nothing super viable, actually, below this price. Giants, could we play the Giants? No. Titans, no. Jets at Cincinnati against Flacco. Nah, Flacco's going to light them up. Miami, no. Baltimore, not really. So Browns, cheapest viable. I'm going to go with Atlanta. Let's see. Maybe that'll work. We're going to have to find another salary saver to make this work. All right. Yeah, we'll need another salary saver in there. That's the challenge. That's the challenge with it. You put one 10K player in there. People are like, why aren't you playing Jonathan Taylor? Because when you play even just one, it really restricts what you can do. Let's get a look at the tight end group for NFL Week 8 here on FanDuel. Tyler Warren, no. I mean, Fergalicious, so delicious. I do like him. I like him every week, as you know. I always love Fergie, but he's getting a bit out of control with the salary level as well, and definitely not somebody we're going to be able to afford. There's no luxury tight end affording this week, not until we find some sort of intense value play, which I have not yet discovered. Kittle, 0 fantasy points last week. What a disaster. Mark Andrews back. Okay, I'm fine with that. Dallas Goedert, I'm definitely fine with him as well. He's had a bunch of big games already this year, and he is a favorite target. I don't mind him in the start lineup as well. There's a few other players I want to go through, though, before we shut it down. Yeah, Theo Johnson, another one. I can't tell between Bellinger and Theo Johnson who the better pairing might be with Dart, but I don't know. Play one, play the other. Maybe we'll mix them up. I would play that. Kyle Pitts acceptable. Evan Ingram definitely, actually. I want a piece of this game in as many different ways as I can get it. So I wouldn't mind playing Evan Ingram. I like Fannin down here as well. Noah Fant. So there's one name, though, I wanted to definitely mention, and that's Colston Loveland. It looks like Cole Kmet will be out for the Bears. So we might get like a Colston Loveland, potential breakout week. So let's keep an eye on Loveland as well. If I had to choose a favorite tight end right now, I'm not loving this guy. I think you really just want to kind of pair it with your quarterback. But if I had to just, like last week we were, I think I'll go not Pitts here. Again, I want a competitive matchup. It'd probably be like a Fannin, maybe an Evan Ingram or a Noah Fant. I kind of want to hang down here at the tight end group. So it'd be one of those as my favorite. But I'm going to plug in Colston Loveland as sort of the cheapest viable tight end right now, assuming that Cole Kmet is out. He's got a back issue. Let's see what it says here. Exited Sunday's game, back injury. I don't think he's come back this week. So I say let's roll out the rookie Loveland in some lineups this week. Guys, that's going to do it for the FanDuel NFL Week 8 first look. Obviously, we got a lot of week to go. News, information, all that good stuff will be coming out. So we'll keep you updated here on the DFS YouTube channel. Remember to check back in. Make sure you're liked, subscribe to the channel here. Check back in all throughout the week. We got tournament tactics coming up on Friday. We will break down all of the Sunday slate from a big tournament perspective. And of course, the showdown breakdowns happening constantly throughout the week. So you got to be subscribed to get the news and get the notifications. Make sure you do that. I appreciate you guys. Let me know who your favorite quarterback wide receiver combo is for NFL Week 8 here on DraftKings in the comments section below. Good luck, everyone. Helmets up.